So, hello.
Hello.
I thank you very much, Kirsten, to welcome us here in Svanholm in Denmark. You will tell us more about this beautiful place. I really just love it here. It's the most peaceful and beautiful place, and you will explain to us how this has been created and so on. Kirsten, Svanholm exists since '78, and actually you were one of the first people that stayed here at this place. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about how this was created and how it came about? What idea created this beautiful place?
Well, the ideas were in Denmark at that time. There were many people trying to do places like this. There were many attempts in Denmark, and some of them were very serious, and they had very hard, very high ideas, very political high ideas. And this place, we had these ideas, equality, green, and so on, but we very soon transferred them into the practical things we wanted to do. How to do the farming, how to do the eating, how to take care of the children, how to live. Some of the other places, they had a lot of political discussions, and it didn't work. They never started.
The group that came together, why did you get together? What was your first idea in the beginning, right now? What did you want to create?
In the beginning, there were two couples. They were living in two apartments in Copenhagen, in the center of Copenhagen. And these two couples, they had a lot of dinners and they had a lot of talk. And we want to live in the countryside and a lot of people and green and all that. And then they made an advertisement in the paper like this, and they said a very few things, 5 or 6 things. And they said, we have a meeting in 2 weeks at this place, and you could come if you are interested.
And what were these 5 things?
It was, we want green farming. We want no difference between low income and high income, no difference between people working with practical things, people working with theoretical things, no difference between men and women, and then also no difference between work and free time, yeah. And we want to eat together, we want to take care of our children together, and yeah, and we want to have common economy. These few things were in the advertisement. And then about 100 people came, and then there was some talk and discussions, and very soon there were made different groups. One group discussing how to do the farming, how to do the cooking, how to take care of the children, and so on. And then these two couples, they lived in 2 small apartments in the center of Copenhagen, and then there was a free apartment next to them. And in '78 there was many unemployed people, and many of the people interested in this project, they were unemployed, so they used all their time meeting in this apartment, doing all the plans, writing letters to people, having meetings, what do we do, how to, and then in the beginning every month, and later every 2 weeks we met, all of us, and the small groups told what have we found out, and the big group said okay, or do more like this than this, and so on. And then after 1 year we had the plans, and we have found this place, because the very difficult thing was to find the right place. And we had some discussions, because we knew that some of us would have to work outside the place, because it's to buy a farm in Denmark is expensive. I think it's more expensive in France, but it's expensive, and you have to have money from outside in some way. And so we knew that some of us, many of us, would have to have our work and earn money outside. And therefore we discussed we want to be near Copenhagen or we want to be near a big city. But it also meant when you're near a big city, the farms are more expensive. And there was another group, they said, no, we don't want to buy such an expensive farm, we want to buy a cheap farm, so we go to Jutland. But then there would be no jobs. So you can't get both a cheap place and many jobs. And they were unlucky. They worked very much with the place, and then the owner sold it to someone else, so they never started. But we accepted to buy an expensive place, and knowing it would mean a lot for our daily life.
And it's close to Copenhagen, so it's 50 kilometers from Copenhagen here.
And that's, I think, it's close, and there are 3 big cities near 30 kilometers from here, so it's easy to get a job. Oh, it's not that difficult.
So this is how it started. Yeah. And then, what happened then? So where was, how did it start from practically here on this place? I know you have this beautiful mansion where you have lived in one room, I think, in the beginning first. No, that's the rumor.
Yeah, that's the rumor. No, we most of the rooms were free when we came, and then we had to wait for some of the apartments. We had to wait, and therefore we had a big room up there where I think 10 people lived, but the rest of us, we lived around. So, but well, it started rather simple, I think, because we knew who are going to cook, because we had the group that worked 1 year with the cooking, and we knew who are going to take care of the children, because this group had been working for so long. So, and they had their plans. Then we go there, and then we do this, and you do that, and so it started rather smooth. I mean, everyone knew a little about what to do, and of course, many things were strange, but we had been thinking of all of it, and we knew the place in 3 or 4 months before we came. So we had been out up here and looking, there are rooms there, and then we do, and so on. So in that way we were prepared. We thought that we would meet every evening. Of course, we had dinner together every evening, but then we had the plan that we were going to have a meeting every evening too. Discussing, we had a problem there, we sent a lot of people there, and we could do this there, and so. But very soon we found out that the groups were working very for themselves, and we needed not these meetings. And the groups, they had so much work and so many plans, so they had to have their own plans. We shouldn't mingle it.
Intervene too much.
No. But then we had another strange thing. These 2 couples, they had been they were all unemployed, so they had been working very much in this apartment this year. And when they were in this apartment, they knew what happened everywhere in the group. And suddenly they were here, and people were doing things everywhere, and they couldn't follow it, and they got very a little nervous. Are you doing the right thing over there? I didn't look at it. Yeah, it's right. You need not look at it. I'm doing the right thing. And they they didn't like it. So after 1 year, they left. And that was it was strange. And I think we felt it hard, because they had done so much, but they had one idea in their head, and suddenly we were 80 people with 80 different ideas, and it was very difficult for them that this idea was totally split up. Later on, we were told that's not unusual for places like this. So, but that was, and then, well, I wouldn't say, but I think then in many ways we just went on until today.
Yes. And so, in a way, you just evolved on and on and on. But for people that don't know Svanholm at all, how does it work now with you said people are working outside, people are working inside in Svanholm. So people that don't know at all how this structure works, so how would you explain Svanholm to them?
Well, I think we are a big farm, and some people are working full time in the farm, and it's we are, and then we are family, and that's two. Legally, it's two different things, and the family. Some in the family are going to work in the farm, and some are going to be a teacher in school down there, and some are going to the kitchen and doing the food for the rest. And I'm going, like 3 others, we're going to the office to doing all the office work for the. And then we have the farm, the big farm. It's a firm, and they're working for the firm, and some people from outside come here and work and get their wages too. And some from the community, like me, go to the office at the firm. It's the same office, but doing the firm work. So we have we are like old-fashioned landlords. We have a cooking maid. We have 4. We have a nurse. We have a kindergarten.
So you have a kindergarten on this place?
Yeah. With 17 children. Most of them are our own children, but also children from outside.
And how many people live here right now, about?
About 80 grown-ups and 55 children, I think.
55 children, that's...
Yeah. It's, yeah.
So, and you say they work part-time, some outside?
No, not
some
part-time.
Some outside.
Full-time outside, and
some
work full-time
here.
The people working here are very professional. When we came, we had such dreams. Oh, I'll do a little in the garden, and then I'll look after the sheep, and then I'll go to the kitchen. And it's full-time there or full-time there. And if people come and say, oh, I would like to live at Svanholm and do a little gardening, I have my own little garden at home, I know. We said, no, you should be a fully educated farmer if you're working here. And if you are working in the kitchen, we want you to have some experience and some interest. And if you want to work in the office, you can't say, oh, I always loved doing calculation. No, we want you to know something about it. So all the people working here are professionals.
And when you're working full-time in Svanholm, on the farm, how are you being remunerated? What is the salary? What are you?
It's the firm, and I'm employed by the firm, and I get a normal salary from the firm. And both the teacher working full-time outside and me, we put our money at the same bank account. And if you are looking at my taxes and my wages and all that, you would just say, oh, she's working at a farm called Svanholm. She's getting her wages, she's paying her taxes and all that, and then she has a bank account where her wages goes to. And this is a special bank account because 80 grown-ups have the same bank account, so all the money go there. And then from the bank account, some money goes to the kitchen, and some money goes to pay the rent, and some money goes to help the firm, so on. So it's, in fact, it's very simple.
So actually the incomes are financing the life here, the living, and you don't get any money at all for yourself, or how does this work?
Yeah, we get kind of pocket money. We get 20% of our brutto income, our total income. Our income before taxes, we get 20% for ourselves. And until 2003, we got the same. Yeah, but now we get the 20% of our income, and it means that if you have big income, you get more if you have a low income. And then we have some, if you have very, very, very high income, you don't get from the top. And if you have a very low, then you get something there. So, but yeah, so we have different pocket money now, and that was a very strange decision.
Okay. How do you do these decisions? How does this come about? I think this is a big point for Svanholm to get into this common decision making, right?
We have a consensus principle. Well, I told you in the beginning we had a meeting every evening, and that was terrible. Then we had a meeting every week. We had that for 25 years, I think. Now we have a meeting every month. The last Tuesday every month, and if we couldn't finish there, then it's the first Tuesday in the next month. And at that meeting, you could come if you're interested. If you're not interested, you're not coming. And we use the consensus there. It means we do not vote. And it's very important for us that we are not doing votes. Because if 51% decided something and the 49% didn't like it, the 49% wouldn't do it and it wouldn't work. We have to, I mean, we are so near and we have this common economy, we have to agree on the decisions and we all have to be behind the decisions and we have to go the same way. It means sometimes we are going very slow, but it works. I mean, we are here after 34 years.
Yeah, I think this proves that this system seems to work.
Yeah.
No votes, but consensus.
Yeah.
And find a way that everybody is standing behind this decision, 100%.
But you have to. We always say that you are not allowed to do a veto. You couldn't sit. No, I won't, and I won't discuss it. You can't do that. You are obliged to talk to the people doing the proposal. You are obliged to work to find a compromise. It's very important. And it's important that we know each other very well, and we agree on the goals. If we were all new, if we had very different opinions and so on, it would be very difficult with a consensus. I don't think that you could always make consensus. I mean, it's obvious to do consensus in a family, and this is a big family. But it's not always a good idea. I think if I was to start a place like this today, I would say that sometimes we should have, it should be possible to do voting, but then it should be qualified majority. If 80% want to do something, or something like that. But it works here because we know each other so well. And you know, Kristiania, they have just had some very, very difficult negotiations with the state.
Will we just explain Kristiania?
Well, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, I don't.
As far as I understood, it's a place in Copenhagen where people live together in a community. And what else? Tell me.
Yeah, it was an old military installation. So there were a lot of buildings, strange, interesting, and some of the buildings very old. And then the military left 35 years ago, and then a lot of young people came and took it and are living many, many strange places. And they are 200 or 300 people, I think, at least, and children and all kinds of people. Some very serious people, and some are junkies and so on. It's very, very wide range of people. But they have just had some very, very difficult negotiations with the state, and they have a consensus too. And it was very difficult for them to agree on because they are so different. And some of them are not totally aware when they are discussing it. You know, they succeeded. But it was very hard work for them to do to such a decision. And it's much easier here. Because, yeah.
And now, what would you say is the spirit of Svanholm now? If you were to describe the spirit of Svanholm, what does it glue together now?
I think there are two things, maybe three. We're discussing it at the beginning here. It's the green thing is important, and a certain amount of equality, but that's one of the things we are discussing, how much equality. And then a common feeling, it's difficult, that we like each other. Yeah. And we feel we have a common goal. It's a little difficult to say. But it's, we have just, I could show you, we have had some discussions about our goals, and we could agree a lot of, all this. We want to be kind and green and all this. But now we're discussing equality, common economy, and so on. It's a very interesting thing.
This is when it comes down to the core.
Yeah.
And if I would like to know more about the most important values for Svanholm over the time, has it changed for you, or has it always been the same?
I think it has always been the same. I mean, the green ideas were very important, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, there were no ideas about ecological farming. It didn't exist. When we started, there were no rules. You couldn't call your vegetables ecological because there were no rules. And some of the farmers from here have done a lot of work doing this, being in the Danish organization for ecological farming and so on. So, yeah. But we knew that we would do farming and that we would have a big farm. That was one very important. And also this eating together. And also I said, take away the difference between the different, equality or something like that. That was important too. And that was from the beginning, I think.
Very beautiful. And I heard that you introduced permaculture now as we talk about the green thing as well, to Svanholm. Since when, and what do you think about this now?
I think it's difficult. It's interesting. It's interesting, and I know you're going to meet Mira. Yeah, at 2:00, I think. Yeah, I think we must always do experiments. We must always do new things, and I mean we have a rent to pay, so we have to do a lot of our farming in an efficient, modern way, and permaculture couldn't pay the same rent. So now we're doing it as an experiment, and they are having a little place, and they are doing it for themselves. They pay a rent to us for the ground, and then they do it for themselves. But we could come and look, and we could talk, and then they have it for themselves, and I think that's a good thing. We have, and also in ecological farming there are a lot of experiments still, and there. We have had for 2 years. We have been discussing the ideas for our ecological farming, and we are discussing changes and ways to do things better within the ecological farming, and we are putting up some goals. Doing the fertile ground bigger and such things. So we are also working within the ecological farming. We are working to improve that, because when we started ecological farming was just an experiment. I think now ecological farming are doing 2 ways. You could do it very industrialized, and you could do it more with nature. So, but it's a long discussion.
So time will show what is the best for Svanholm and for the world.
Yeah. And then we also are working, maybe you've seen in the kitchen, very big plan. We want to use more energy on information, telling people about ecological things. We're doing a cafe, and we're doing information center, and so we plan to do. We have not decided, but we plan to do. and we are searching how much money would it cost and how could we do it, and we're working hard on that. You could see it's sometimes it's difficult to make money on primary production, and it's maybe easier to make money on telling about it. It's easier to make money on telling about primary production than to do the primary production.
But I think these ideas are worthwhile spreading.
Yeah.
And it's very important that people learn about them. And if you can, because you have made the experience, you have gone the hard way. If you share this with others, it's important.
Yeah, but I think everyone in Denmark knows about ecological things. You know, in the supermarkets, there's always ecological products. We used to have a little shop here selling a lot of ecological things, but it didn't work because people bought all the things in the supermarket. So we had to stop the shop, and now people could. We planned that people could go here and have oplevelser. Yeah, they could experiments experience things. Yeah, I think that would be better. But I think because I think most Danes, they know about ecological things. They do.
That's the beauty about Denmark also. And if there were other structures in other countries or other places that would like to do a structure like Svanholm, what would be your advice for them, your counsel, if you have any, what to do and what not to do? Is there anything that you would say, give them on their way and say, be careful, or do this, or stick to that? What would be your advice?
I think one of the important things to not to concentrate, but to have some concentration on the practical things. I mean, some people wanting to do alternative things, they are flowing up here, and then you would make a lot of arguments and you would not agree and so on. But if you're discussing how are we to cook our food, maybe it's easier. But of course you must have the ideas, you must bring the ideas with you, but you shouldn't spend all your time up there, you should get down. I think that was why Svanholm succeeded and other projects at the same time, they didn't succeed. I think that's one important thing. And then, like each other. And I don't know, because I think we have been very, very lucky that there are a lot of hardworking people here, but very few people that need to be the leaders. I think that's a very important thing here. In some communities, there are some people struggling and fighting, and we have a very strange and lucky combination of people here. I think we have and also many of the people starting the farming and so on. They were very hardworking people. And they could do a lot of things, but they didn't have to do fights and see, oh, here I am, and so on. And I don't know how you get such people, but it's important to get that kind of people. I don't know how to get them.
I think they were drawn to you here.
Yeah, but I mean, if you start a new place, you might get problems with... There are many different ways to be a leader, and some of them are not very well working. We have seen in other communities. Yeah, so it's one of the important things. And then, of course, this I said about consensus or qualified majority. I think that would be some of the important things. So, and then don't buy too expensive, but that's very difficult. That's very difficult. I think in Europe, the farmers are expensive in most places. I think in some places, in Italy, they could buy cheap. But it's the same problem. If it's cheap, there's a long way to all the jobs.
If people would like to come here to Svanholm and live here, what are the regulations? What are the restrictions? Is there still place? Would you welcome them? What is the procedure about this?
We welcome them, but they have to make an agreement before they come. That's not all people thinking that. But we have rooms for guests. We have jobs for guests. They could work here. Normally it's 3 months. You know, there's a lot of foreign rules and how long could you stay. And you would, if you work 30 hours a week, and you get food and housing and so on. And we're prepared to accept such people. But we have a restricted number, I think 10 or 15. But they should just send us an email, and then we have a guest group.
10 or 15 per year, you mean, or?
At time. Yeah, we have most in summertime and not so many in winter. Maybe you should interview some of them. We have
Yes, I'd love to.
We often get people from Japan and Korea and so on. Yeah, and now I think we have some from Spain too, and some Danes, but many, and they have their own little community. All this
In Svanholm itself.
Yeah. I mean, not formally, but they eat at the same table and they are talking and have a lot of pleasure and so on. So maybe you should meet some of them. So.
I thank you very much for this interview and for all the information.
Okay.
And I hope that this has inspired other people to get into it and think about this structure that can work. And as Svanholm is working now and thriving, living for 35 years almost, I think there are many things that can be transferred to knowledge and the way of doing things to other structures like that. And thank you for contributing to that. And I hope this helps to make the world evolve to a better place. Thank you very much. Thank you.